Good. Okay.
How about you?
Good. So obviously your main goal here is to obviously improve and get like general knowledge of HOTS and
Yeah,
just
right.
pretty much rank up. And obviously you have a very interesting hero pool, right?
Yeah.
But obviously you don't really want to stray away from that because that's what you enjoy playing, and ultimately um, playing games is about having fun, right? So
Yep.
this is fine. Obviously, okay, do you know like your general role of like what you do with your heroes, things like that?
Um. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I tend to take camps, run around, and most of the time I'm still pushing.
Right.
And
Cool. Okay.
like,
So,
it's currently I'm playing HOTS like really casual. Like, I'm not really thinking about it too
mhm,
much, and just feel like I'm kind of running around without the idea of the game.
for
That's
sure.
why I want to take a lesson.
Right. Okay. So you want to learn like more why you should be doing certain things at a certain time with
Yeah, exactly.
perfect. Okay. So let's explain quickly what your general hero pool is and what it fits into. So if you see like all your most played things like Murky, Abathur, Zagara, Gazlowe type of stuff, do you play any other heroes in what kind of other
Like,
heroes do you play? You like, yeah.
uh,
Like what are your most played heroes in general?
Murky, Abathur, Zagara, Gazlowe, Lunara,
Hmm.
Ragnaros, Probius,
Okay.
Lyric,
Okay.
Brightwing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so generally, the majority of those heroes you just mentioned. So generally, you find yourself a lot in like the solo lane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is exactly where you need to be at all times because the reason why like there is a solo lane in this game is because EXP is distributed amongst everybody, right? So if
Yep.
people are together, it doesn't matter if one is solo. You have to cover three lanes,
So
and
you just talk 6p, yeah.
yeah, pretty much. And at times, since you are split from the four men, as we generally call it, your job on certain characters like Murky and Leoric, Ragnaros, and even Abathur is to pretty much cover the other lanes while your teammates are doing something, right?
Okay.
And basically, your job as an offlaner is a solo laner is to pretty much soak EXP the entire time while being able to what do you call it? Manage to get rotations ahead of your solo laner. Oh, like against the opponent you're
Yeah, of
against,
the enemy one, yeah.
right?
Okay.
So obviously with your hero pool, there are some matchups that you are favored in, but there are some that you are not favored in, and basically you need to identify what you need to be doing in order to pretty much get ahead. And there's a lot of ways you can approach it, but let's go into a replay real quick on whatever you have so that we can see how you play and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just feel free to host one and then invite me.
Okay. um. Yeah, let me check which one I'm gonna take. You said a loss would be better, right? So.
I mean, if even if it's a win, like it's perfectly fine. Like obviously,
Yeah.
if there's a game that you're generally confused on why you've lost or something like that. Obviously, this is like our first session. Like, yeah, didn't really have much time to really get you prepared for what kind of replays we should be looking at. Okay, let's add you real quick. Okay, junior lobby. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, toss me leader real quick. Thank you. Okay, let's start. So on Curse Hollow, what did you play this game?
Murky, of course.
Murky. Okay, cool. So let's the first and most important thing you need to look at, especially since you are playing very off meta heroes, is the team compositions, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, once we load in here, we can talk about what exactly you need to be looking at. So, this entire thing that I'm trying to teach you here is really, really important, especially since you are playing off meta heroes, right? You need to be able to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and what you need to be doing in order to win the game. So, let's take a look at the compositions real quick, right? What can you tell me about your composition versus their composition?
Mm. I don't know. Like, not much, to be
Not much.
honest.
Okay,
I
that's fine.
just know against what laner I would lose and have a
Mhm.
chance to push them in actually
Okay,
and try to outrun them.
cool. So, who do you think you're versing in lane?
Yeah, I was expecting to play against Sergeant Hammer or Phoenix.
Okay. Well, who did you end up playing against?
Not quite sure anymore, to be honest.
Okay, we'll see. So from what I can tell you, do you know like what every single character does in this game, or
Yeah,
do you have that?
I know the abilities and stuff, but I
Mhm.
don't know all the skills or things like that.
Okay. So, obviously, like in time, like when you're playing more, like obviously you're playing this game more casually, but
Yeah.
having all the knowledge in the world is obviously really important to
Yep.
be able to improve. So right away, what I can tell you is that pretty much almost every single matchup you are facing, besides the Zer, like if you're going to face a range matchup, you're obviously not very favored because you're Murky, right? And you kind of just scale into the late game.
Mhm.
Because you know that Murky scales. Butcher scales late, and you have kill pressure with Butcher Tyrande, and you actually have like pretty good way of engaging because you have two people that can dive. You can dive technically too if you flank and things like that. Um, while their composition requires them to set up because they have Alex Strauss Dragon, Sergeant Hammer, obviously. So you want to pretty much be able to control space in where you are making efficient trades with your opponent to be able to pretty much cap the objective or do kind of do other like split pushing kind of things. Let's see.
Yeah,
So,
so I don't know actually if I should go mid with the others at the start or just
right.
straight up go to the side lane.
Okay, so generally when you're playing Murky, um, obviously you don't really bring much to it. Like your level one,
Yeah.
you kind of just have your QE because your W is just gonna die, right?
Yeah.
So, whenever you're playing Murky and pretty much any one of your heroes, because a lot of them don't really have very strong team fight presence, you want to be telling your team in chat or like in voice that you're split pushing. Just be careful, right?
Yeah.
That's really important because if you get pretty much a wave top or bottom um, right away and they're skirmishing middle, you get a free wave, and that's really really important, right? Okay, let's see here. So obviously we start mid. Nothing too crazy. Technically, it should favor your opponent, but you kind of have the worst heal. They have the worser healer for early on, so pretty much depends on how things are happening. Okay, so they won the wave as expected, because the tracer's off. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have E'd there, unfortunately. Oh, your egg is here too. I
Yep, I
think,
forgot to place
yeah,
it that
yeah,
game. Yeah,
okay.
I remember.
Yeah, no worries. Okay.
Yeah, I went mid lane and was talking to my friend.
Oh, okay.
I was like that was the game where I went trying to go mid lane. Usually I just go straight to the bot lane and or top lane and then shove the wave in.
Right. Okay,
Get some
so
tower damage.
so as you can see here, do you know how the tribute spawns on Curse Hollow work?
Not at all.
Okay. So basically, obviously generally everyone kind of just runs down mid and prays something happens without actually thinking about it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, people do that shit because like they think, well, I don't know. It's because the mid wave comes first, but people don't actually take into account like their team compositions, which is kind of unfortunate because obviously the hero pool you're working with is off meta, and it excels in different areas, but not actually team fighting right away. And yeah, but so within the first like 30 seconds, you're going to be able to identify what side of the map you're going to be playing for. And obviously, as we can see here, the tribute is top side, and you're in the bottom side, which is super ideal because you're obviously threatening split push when the objective is up, right?
Yep.
So basically, within the first 30 seconds of playing Curse Hall, let's say with Murky, a thing that you can do is like, well, obviously go into a split push side lane. You can like set up an egg here. You can run all the way down here, kind of suicide, and then spawn back top or something like that. There's some like really weird stuff you can do with Murky. Super weird stuff. But anyway. So you have the Zeratul matchup, which is... I mean, you eventually win every single melee matchup because your health regen is super insane. You just need to not trade poorly.
Like that.
Yeah. You die here. But I mean, you got a really good chunk there. Like, you could have, E'd the W off of the Zeratul. That's fine.
Yeah.
So you have vision of him backing. Not really gonna care too much about what your teammates are doing, just focusing on you here. So what you're doing here is perfectly fine. So now he's missing away bottom. They're starting to team fight. Okay, are you bribing? Or are you... Okay. Nice, okay. Just looking at that real quick. Let's see how many stacks you got. Where are you at? Okay, you got 1 stack. So now, this is the point. Yeah, you kind of... So, obviously you see yourself a lot in these situations where, you're pretty much split from the team, right? Always 4v5.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously been, like, some games in where, your teammates kind of just blame you because you're off split pushing and they're kind of just suiciding, right? And not really knowing what the heck is going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's obviously it's kind of a two-way street communication thing where you want to be trying to tell your teammates, hey, I'm gonna be split pushing, please chill out, and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's up to these 4 to be able to identify that you are creating pressure on the map elsewhere. And then you need to identify, like, also in draft, this is another thing that you should be doing, is, whatever objective you're trying to, play for, you need to identify what kind of tools you have to be able to either stall, or if you actually do need to come to the team fight, things like that. Because basically what you are doing is correct. You are managing waves. That is what the role of the offlaner does. But there are points in time where you do need to come up. And if we take a look here, I've mentioned in draft that their composition is a little bit favored if they set up and stuff like that. But you do have tools to be able to hard engage later on. And okay, let's review real quick. What kind of stalls do we have on our team that we can use to be able to stall the tribute while you split push?
The split push or the
Like
tribute?
at the tribute, yeah. We don't have to worry
Okay.
about your split push because you need to
Yeah.
know like what kind of tools your team has to be able to stall. Assuming that
I
every
would say
yeah, go ahead.
Tyrant W, like from far away.
Yep.
Then Tracer could just run in, pop a few attacks, and get out with E again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's most of it. Or they could run it with Butcher, but I don't think they would just they won't win the fight then.
Right.
So they will suicide. Yeah.
Okay. So okay, you got a little bit of it right. So okay, you got the Tracer part right. That's super important to know. Obviously, that's not the most ideal because Tracer is really important to keep her E and things like that. Toronto W is correct. The Toronto E is important too, right? It's just the long sun. And
Oh yeah, right.
one more thing you forgot actually is the Zul'jin W because it's super duper far, right? Q.
So,
Yeah.
it's just like basically his auto range or not? support?
It's pretty.
That
It's a
far?
little further than his auto range.
Okay.
So obviously, it's good for him to stall as well. So obviously, assuming everyone plays perfectly, they'll be able to stall for a little bit of time, and it's actually kind of perfect because they have the worst support. Like if you're comparing supports, because Alexstrasza isn't very good at taking poke, but she's good at all-inning if you actually take a fight. At the same time, though, the Sergeant Hammer and the Zeratul have like counter poke because they pretty much set up ahead of time, right? Like looking at the positions right now, it looks super unfavored for you unless someone kind of misplays. So
Yeah.
in draft, you really have to identify what kind of tools you have and what kind of power spikes in terms of levels that you need to be playing for. But what do you think is like your team's power spike generally? Like how? Oh yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Um. Yeah, I would say like when we get um, when Butcher gets his 200 stacks, like
Mhm.
I'm level 20 or something, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's most of the things I know, most of talents. So
Okay.
I'm guessing we would rather want to stall for late game
Okay.
than start doing something.
Yep. That's cool. That is correct. Pretty much your obviously your late your game your composition is late game. Their composition's actually late game as well. Um, which one is better? Let's see. It's pretty much it's skill based at that point, and how people use their abilities. So, well, let's take a look at engagement here. This looks, yeah, this is very unfavored, unfortunately. Like I said, they have a setup, and yeah, so they can't actually do anything. As long as people don't really die, it's okay. Okay, so you get the mercs. Ooh. Okay. Okay, you go back to split pushing. Oh, you're lucky that tower didn't kill your puffer.
I mean, it killed one of them, so
Okay, let's see. So now this tribute is spawning. So you have a couple options here. Um, generally as offlane, your like I said, your job is to soak waves, right?
yeah.
The options that you have here in this position right now. Actually, let's hear what you think your options are right now. There are kind of two options, I guess. Two options, yeah.
Yeah, either going top lane and then letting my team stall the thing again
Okay.
and just soak XP top lane,
Yep.
or I don't know, trying to stay bot lane and stall by running in. I guess that would kind of suck.
Mhm.
Or maybe we could take a few camps before, like the mid lane camp, and then try to get a tribute on our own.
Right. So, the top part is really important. Obviously there's a top lane and your team kind of needs to back. That is the general first reaction I would do. I would like clear this lane and then back and then start walking top to be able to soak pretty much the off
Yeah.
lane and the other side of the map while your team fights over the objective. Um, those are the two very important things. Another thing that you can do is like you soak out the top lane, you rotate middle, you place your egg here, then you start threatening flanks and stuff like that because everyone is playing in around this position, right? The tribute position, and people are gonna try and poke, try and set up. But obviously, looking at your levels right now, you're not in a position to be able to do too much right now because you don't have 10 or anything like that, and your composition doesn't really do anything until 10. So, um, the best choice is to obviously pretty much just soak out all the lanes until 10. But I'm just letting you know that there is an option to be able to flank as Murky here. Since this position is the most defensive position for you. Okay, let's see what you do here. Okay, so you ended up just pushing bots.
Yeah. I think I'm actually staying bot lane and
Yeah.
just try to contest it.
Let's see.
Wasn't that smart?
We'll just see here. Okay, so your team's obviously trying to fight for space, and this butcher is trying to get this top wave. This is wild. This is actually super wild. And now you're contest. So this is obviously like a mistake on your butcher to be fighting like this. You obviously see the Tassadar bot. You had a rotation on him, so let's see. Generally, this is kind of a mistake because, yeah, your composition doesn't do much until 10. Like the Toronto just got picked and things like that,
I
right?
would die too. I'm
Yeah.
Soto.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So yeah, generally when you play Murky like this, obviously, best thing to do is to scale till 10 until you have your ult. Then you can actually do stuff in team fights. Yeah, let's see. So you have that top wave that's actually building up pretty big. Does it push into you? Oh, that pushes pretty hard. Are you rotating up there?
Yeah, I think I'm running top lane and try to
Okay.
soak it, but
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
kind of too late.
Looks okay. I think you could have backed and then ran over there.
Yeah. But I missed most of it.
Yeah, you missed a little bit. It's okay. But you had the right intentions. This is that move is correct because this wave is even. So it's good. Yeah, you're generally ahead, so it's good. Ooh, this one's a mistake, methinks. Actually, you have a bribe, never mind. Yeah, you're just prepping for the trip. Okay, this is fine. You are doing the correct thing so far. So this is probably the mistake actually here. So you don't do much here, right? You're 9 and you don't really do anything. Best thing to do is just push the off lanes and then pretty much mitigate all the damage that you are receiving, right? And once you have 10, you can actually start making decisions to be able to team fight. Cause yeah, see, like your pufferfish just kind of just dies. The only thing you can do is Q it. If you just do it over here instead, you actually get a wave and contribute for your team. So let's see here. Okay, so you're in a good flanking spot actually. So, okay, so we are Octograb this game. So why Octograb?
I thought like that Sergeant Hammer or Saruto were the like most yeah, how do I say that? The most
Threatening?
important stuff for them. So
Right.
like I wanted to be able to octograb Sergeant Hammer in the backline, or maybe Saruto if he's just too deep in, so we can punish them.
Okay. So generally with Octograb, it's kind of awkward because if in a team fight, because if you're trying to lock someone down in a team fight,
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
5v5, you just kind of die, right? They just focus you and Octograb gets cancelled. So I would have probably just taken March this game because you are able to flank pretty well as Murky and you just set up a flank for your team and their entire team is slowed. Your team can just walk in and pretty much kill them, right?
Okay.
So, cause yeah, like see how you kind of just see how you kind of just walk in and take free
Yeah.
damage. Like that's the exact same concept as the Octograb, right? You just walk in, you attempt to Octograb, then you kind of just die. That's kind of the reality of Murky, but
Yeah.
that is why I would probably take March over Octograb. Cause like let's see how like this Toronto just used Starfall. If you pair it up with the Octograb, so not the Octograb, March, it's like super duper good. So right now, team's kind of just generally making mistakes. This top wave here is big concern. Obviously, we talked about how you could split push that, well, deep push that, sorry, while your team kind of just backs up. Because if you look at the experience right now, it's even, obviously, since forts don't give XP anymore. So if you pretty much deep push that wave, you'll be able to get a lot of XP. You'll actually end up ahead if you ended up just deep pushing top instead.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we're in a position now where we're able to actually kind of team fight, but the most important thing as a side laner is to be able to split push, right? And pressure waves and be able to get rotation onto your team. Obviously, these picks are really nice, but my biggest concern right now. Okay, this is good. The largest concern right now is like literally looking at the side lanes, right? This is crashing. This is crashing. There's so much pressure on the map where you could be helping relieve that because that is your job technically. Obviously, these picks here were nice, but immediately, like um, once you do clean up, you want to rotate to the side lane right away, right? Cause see how you and Butcher are rotating together, kind of. Oh, are you invading? Oh no.
Yeah, we take.
Okay,
Yeah.
with like bribe and stuff. Okay, so generally, let's say like you've obviously experienced fights where if you eliminate your opponent, you kind of say, "Oh, let's invade," types of things, right?
Yep.
Um, the most important thing though, if you're not like pre 20 or something like that, is gaining as much EXP as possible. The rotation I would have done after getting the pick over Tassadar is just go top instead, and then
Yeah.
soak this
Take
lane
the
out.
wave.
Yeah, you push out this wave, the next wave. It's probably like two. Yeah, it's two waves, and then you can do whatever. You get closer to 13, get closer to 20. Right, super
Okay.
important. Oh, actually, you can make this sick play. Um, this is actually really cool. So let's say you pick the Tassadar, you go soak up this top wave, and then the next top wave. What you do afterwards is suicide into the towers, and you spawn bottom to
Spawn
receive
bot
bottom
lane.
wave,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you could have done that. That is super sick to do. Cause like, obviously this camp is nice, but it's not. It doesn't really do much for you, right? And now you see like, if you look at your own vision, pretty much like, you see how many like look at the waves. Like they're literally all on your side of the map, right? Which you don't want that. Because this game is pretty much about wave control for levels and for making space. So right now, Tribute's bottom for the next spawn. What do you think you should be doing right now instead of being here?
Being top or mid lane.
Yep, exactly.
Just pushing.
And
Trying to get someone to my lane.
right. So basically, at this point, um, yeah, you should be in the opposite lanes.
Yeah.
The thing that I talked about with like suiciding into towers actually applies here as well, because you can just push out your top lane super duper hard, and just suicide into towers, and you can be back in team fight with the team, right?
Mhm.
There should be no point in time as your role where you're pretty much with the team, unless you're doing like a 5v5 team fight that is actually favored for you, right?
Yeah, it was weird because like Butcher was top lane again and then
Yeah,
didn't want to go there as well, so
yeah,
just stayed bot lane and tried to get something done. But
right.
yeah,
So
didn't work
like
out.
Butcher is technically an off lane as well because he kind of wanted to just stack and farm. But in this case for this game, he's kind of just your tank because he can lifesteal. He can be your front line. He's literally front line, right? So best thing to do is to like communicate with your team what they should be doing, and just tell your team that you're dealing with the suck. Oh my gosh, you're chunking this guy. This is good. Okay, so um let's talk about how we're gonna execute this. What do you think you should be doing in this team fight right now? Because you're obviously looking to team fight.
I don't know, can't do much to be honest. Like, I feel like if I'm going in, I just get 3 outtakes by Sergeant Hammer and then I'm fucked. So I'm just trying to stay out of the range and
Right.
help my team out if they try to accomplish something.
So what I would do here is generally offlaners have the what do you call it? They have the job of pretty much flanking as well, right? So let's say well, obviously we talked about like March and things like that. If you had March, you can like set up here. Oh, I can't ping anymore, but on the right side of the Sergeant Hammer,
Yeah,
like
from behind.
right,
Yeah.
and then you just march at a at the angle, and then your team just pushes in with your march. Um, there's a thing you can do as a flanker to threaten the flank to divert attention. So let's say if you were like a tanky, well, actually, well, Tech Murky's technically a little tanky because you have your E. But let's say you're on the flank, you're threatening this. You look at the Sergeant Hammer, like once you cut the corner where the Sergeant Hammer can see you. Once you show up there, um, you have a couple of options, right? You can either just like WR her so that your team can just push in. Obviously, this is assuming that she doesn't have unstoppable and things like that, or if the enemy team cleanses it or things like that. Another thing that you can do is just show up on the flank. You just look at her. You show that you're on the flank, so that their team is scared that a Murky is flanking the backline. So you end up having a weird situation where you're just playing by yourself and taking random damage because you're on the flank. But by doing that, you actually give your team more space to be able to push in, right? Because that is less DPS on them and more onto you, right?
Yeah.
And because you can regenerate faster than your team, you can threaten the flank again at any point in time, right? Because like let's just say you take like 2 Sergeant Hammer shots and you have to back up, right? Those are 2 Sergeant Hammer shots that are not on your team if they push in, right? So once that happens, you can actually push back in as Murky since you have the regen, and then you threaten the flank once again, right? So let's see here. Okay, you end up flanking. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm actually running back there, but I'm
Yeah.
just taking damage, and I think I'm ending up dying too.
I mean, so this is the exact same this is the exact concept I'm looking for here, right?
Yeah, but it didn't work out at all.
Yeah.
So
So well, why do you think that didn't work out at all, though?
I don't know. I didn't do anything, to be honest. I was walking around there and then just took damage and died.
Okay, so what I see here is your team is taking too much random damage while you are trying to attempt to do the right thing here. So like, see how like they see you, right? This is really important that they see you because it makes your opponent think about what the heck they should be doing. Another thing that you can do is have a +1 on your flank, ideally the Tracer, or you can have your entire team flank, that kind of thing. Those are the options you have when you play someone that can flank and you have space to flank freely. This kind of does go back to the point of having March available for you to engage properly, right? Because they'll be under an AoE spell. You're pushing into a sieged position, and then yeah, they're just kind of poking you for free. Because like what you're doing here on the flank right now to the Phoenix is absolutely correct, because you're taking damage off of the main group. That's one less damage they're dealing with, pretty much. But because they're all poked out and didn't engage properly, your effort to flank isn't good anymore. But it's still the correct decision. It's pretty much on the 4-man, right?
Okay.
So you actually did your job really well here, actually. Like, you threatened the flank, you pulled one to the side. Like, that's really important. It's just that your team kind of just messed up. Like, they got a kill, but like they didn't engage properly. So that is good. You made the correct play here. Obviously, your egg died. It's unfortunate, but having March here would definitely help you engage better. It makes it easier for your team. Okay, let's see here. So they take the boss. Okay, that's a good pick. So right now, again, you're kind of just grouped up with the team instead of clearing side lanes. Obviously, you got the pick, but that doesn't really happen ideally. Because, yeah, This boss is threatening you guys. Why is this butcher going off lane? What the heck is this? This should be you going off lane. Okay, you get the top wave, it's good. Just keep looking here. It's not that bad, the position. Okay, you get a Phoenix, which is nice. So now you have to receive bottom wave. Is this... Oh, this butcher isn't even stacked, okay. Why are we fighting? Holy moly. Uh-oh, this is a disaster. Yeah, this is your team just monkeying around. Like, you're generally just doing the right things. Obviously, there are some things that you can work on, just like identifying that you need to go to the offlane pretty much at all times, unless there's a situation where it calls for you to team fight. But yeah, I would definitely blame this mostly on your team monkeying around. But obviously, what we learned here is well, you tell me what you learned actually here with this replay.
Just to soak more XP, stay on the side lanes more, and then, like, instead of trying to force shit, just soak XP.
Pretty much. And why do you soak XP though?
Yeah, to get to my level 20 power spike, so I get Big Huna Cartoon and actually
Do
try
things,
to
right?
be able to fight them.
Right. There is one more thing we learned here actually. Do you remember what it is?
Pick March of the Murlocs?
Yes. Another one actually.
Ah. Yeah. Oof. Nah.
You don't remember?
No, not at all.
Okay. So, remember how I talked about the top wave? Like when you just like go into the
Oh,
offline
yeah,
and
the
splash top
suicide.
wave? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just suicide into towers, then you're on the other side of the map. That's
Yeah.
an efficient way of double soaking with Murky there. Okay, that is yeah. That's pretty much it for this replay. Let's go to the next one.
Do I have to quit the replay or does it? Pause?
Wait, you can wait. You're still in game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave you just have to leave it.
I can't press escape.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
it's starting from the beginning again.
Uh-oh. Unfortunate.
Okay, now.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, you can make another game.
Oh, not invite to game, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't actually invite you, you're not on
Yeah,
the list.
Oh,
To invite to
unlucky.
lobby.
Oh,
Oh, you're already
yeah,
in.
I'm already
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Check out this game. Okay, let's see what you play. Where are you?
Murky.
Here? Oh, Murky again? Okay.
Yeah. As I said, I'm mostly playing Murky.
Okay.
Basically one tracking.
Cool. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about your compositions real quick. What can you tell me about them?
About my composition, I don't know. Like, I think my team should group and try to fight them, right? Because they have Dust Vikings and we
Right.
have pretty good engaged with Lucio and oh, we don't even. Oh, that's not Butcher. It's Modern. Oh, thought we had Butcher. Yeah. Oh, well then. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I thought we had Butcher so we could engage at least like. But like that, I don't know. Not quite sure what we could do here.
Okay. What can you tell me about their composition?
I don't know, man. Like, I can't.
Okay, so what I can tell you
I
here.
don't know which new scales were, and I don't know
Okay.
what's good in the early game scales, and
Okay.
I don't know all of that stuff. So
Okay, that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I just want to test you on like what you know so far, so I can help you out with that. So,
Okay.
um, the most important thing to know right away, their composition is very, very kill oriented. They have Kerrigan and Alarak, which are very two high kill threat heroes. They have Gul'dan, which is very good sustained damage and wave clear. They have Vikings, which is obviously the macro pressure, and then Deckard actually helps as well for kill pressure because Deckard can set up a kill for their team and pretty much blow up whoever is on your team. Um, However, your team has two tanky heroes, which is Tychus and Azmodan. If the your composition is very counter engage oriented, meaning that once your opponent uses their abilities, and the result is either that none of your people die or they miss their skill shots, you can just run at them and kill all of them because they blow their load and they can't handle you afterwards, right?
Okay.
So you do have tools to be able to win this game. Um, it's just that it's quote unquote easier to execute something that has kill pressure because you just run at them, right?
Yep.
As for the macro side, you are versus a Lost Vikings, obviously, which is not a favorite matchup for you because they're like there's two range heroes on that thing, and they can kind of just kill your pufferfish. So, what I would be expecting this game is that you will have difficulty rotating to objectives until obviously later when you get your power spike of 10 through 20. You actually when you start team fighting, you'll and things go as planned with like the counter engage and stuff like that. You'll probably be able to win. But early on, you definitely look super unfavored. Okay, let's see here. So starting off lane is fine because there's a Vikings matching, and obviously looking here, right? They have kill pressure, you don't, right? So let's see here, and yeah, unfortunate matchup bottom. This Vikings isn't even shooting the thing properly. You actually get a wave on him, which is really interesting. Okay, let's see here. Not too much to go through. Why is this Lucio here? What the heck?
Yeah, I don't know at all. Like,
This
I
is
instantly wrote you, told
this
him
is
to go mid.
super wild, yeah. This guy just needs to go mid. He needs to stay with the team. It's fine if you die and things like that. Here against a one Viking. I think you can win this. Yeah, you win this bottom matchup actually. If there's two Vikings, you're in a bit of a rut, but like you're okay. This Lucio is triggering me. He doesn't need to heal you. You have so much regen. Look at this Tychus. So yeah. Okay. Let's talk about bribe real quick actually. So this is important because generally when you do bribe things, there needs to be a purpose with it. Let me read this real quick. Wait, does this not do the exact same thing? Oh, it doesn't do the exact same thing. That's insane. Okay, so no, I was trying to compare it to like Falstad bribe where like it reduces the cooldown of the mercenary or something like that.
Oh.
But okay, let's talk about this real quick. So obviously your objective here is to be able to take the camp, right? What do you think is the purpose of this?
I don't know. Not much. They mostly just die at the turret, but I'm not quite sure. I always
You always
thought
see people
that,
do it, yeah. You
the
think
camps also give XP, but
right?
that's not the case, right? Or
Oh,
is it?
okay, so yeah, this is a general rule of thumb with Well, okay, you've obviously seen like played against Murkies before, and people who bribe and they kind of just take your shit, and you're like, wow, they took my stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's the general thing that happens, but in reality, it's actually really bad, and I will show you in a bit why. Um,
Okay.
because the most important thing to do, even if you have like full 3 bribe stacks, is to just either, well, is to get wave priority, right? So, because you see how this lane is even, um, and you're kind of just here, you're probably gonna miss a couple of minions. Obviously, in some cases, it's okay to miss minions,
Yeah, I
but
thought I just went there because I thought Lucio was there anyway, so I just went for the
right,
camp
right.
instead.
So, um, the most important thing to do always is to always just get lane priority. Um,
Yep.
so okay, let's talk about the bribe thing real quick. Okay, so let's say this wave, this wave is in a weird spot, but once this camp spawns, right, the thing is going to rush into the tower. What do you think is
Yeah.
gonna happen? Well, what
Maybe just
yeah, what
yeah, it
happens?
stalls the mini wave. Maybe our mid starts pushing for I don't know 1 wave, and then that's it. They
So
all just die.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally what happens. So is this a good thing or a bad thing in this
I
event
guess
right now?
I would say it's kind of good.
Why?
Because we get the midline prio for a second, and the prisoners are spawning.
Okay.
But I guess the wave then bounces back towards us, which is kind of bad.
Right. So the biggest thing that I see here, what you said was absolutely correct. The most concerning thing for me here though is your rotation after this mid wave is to go bottom wave, right, or something like that. That's what I would assume. What ends up happening is obviously you get mid priority, which is good. But right now there's 4 people here, and someone died, so you kind of just don't have mid priority, right? Um, but what ends up happening, if you end up leaving this space, you end up denying the EXP, right? Because the wave is like literally in the back, and there's another wave that's going to be pushing into your opponent, right? So you do have mid priority with the next wave, but you end up denying EXP if you rotate out, right? And generally, when people do bribe stuff, they don't actually stay because it's too risky, right? Okay, let's see here. So we get this done. So this is exactly what I'm going to be talking about. So generally, when people do this kind of bribe stuff, it ends up denying one wave. Just watch this wave that's coming through, right? So yeah, you obviously have some rotation on people, but it ends up denying your wave, and they end up a little bit ahead because of it, right? It obviously isn't the biggest thing in the world, but it is something to consider. So if we take a look at the fights here, exactly how I talked about it, they blow their load, they don't, our team doesn't die or they miss. Both of these events happened, and they just get destroyed, right? You just walk at them like you're a freaking Murky running into 2 people. Like
Yeah, we actually don't kill them, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just getting stacks off, but we're not clump pushing
Right.
much.
Right. Like what you're doing now, is okay. But however, back to my point though, they have level 7 on us, and we talked about earlier they should be split pushing at all times, right? So the thing about your 4, the stacks and everything, is obviously it's one of the most broken abilities in the game, especially when you stack it because it does a lot of damage. Right now, like you're obviously getting a lot. You have like, oh, you only have 6, unfortunately. That's unfortunate. But
Yeah, I just got 6 in the last fight.
yeah,
When I slimed the Descartes and Kerrigan.
right. So okay, obviously everyone's kind of dying because they're just getting picked off. Ideally, how do you think you should be playing team fights?
Team fights, like where I actually enter, or where I'm just the outside.
Well, okay. Sorry. Better question is, how do you think you should play your objective? Because you are counter engage.
Ooh, we want to defend ours, wait for them to engage, and then go back in if they fuck up.
Yep.
punish them.
Okay, that's correct. There's one more thing to this. It revolves around you specifically. It's not necessarily team fight. It is kind of team fight actually, but it's involving another. It's involving pretty much your job.
My job.
Yes.
You mean soaking XP?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay. So, basically, while your team is trying to defend the objective, right, as 4 or 3 or something like that, the most ideal situation is for you to get lane priority in the other lanes. So, ideally mid and bot, right? So, let's say you started bottom, which you did at some point. What you should be doing is getting bottom priority, then rotating to mid, and then you want to be checking on the status of your team if they're defending and things like that, right? If they're defending, you have the two things you can do are clearing mid and then rotating to defend. And because you're rotating to defend and you have lane priority middle, you have a flank on them, right? And flanking is generally very, very good with the offlane heroes, right? So, what do you call it? The biggest thing that you do need to do is just achieve waves and soak waves like you should be doing. Like, you can obviously get your stacks with these Vikings because they're just kind of sitting there, right? So yeah, like this this motion right here is exactly what you should be doing. Ideally, you want to have the bottom wave set up, but okay, let's see. So you get another top wave. It's good. Oh, did I? No.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
unlucky. Super unfortunate. But yeah, pretty much here the premise was, team kind of just died over here, but you also needed to be pressuring the side lanes instead of grouping up because you're not 10 yet, right? You don't really do much until 10. Really, really important. Okay, we'll just skip ahead here. This Orphea needs to soak out another. Actually, Orphea should be top. As what I'm about is okay. So, this is generally okay. Like a level behind. What two? Sorry. Okay, we'll just keep going here. What is happening here? Not unfortunate. Okay, so we are March this game. Nice. Okay, so is it March? Yeah, I mean most cases it's March.
Yep.
Because flanking positions, things like that. Let's see. Do we actually have a team fight? Oh, rip. Okay. Let's keep going ahead here. We'll move to the next team fight. Not too concerned about macro. At the bribe camp. Okay, so here. Actually, oh, never mind. Tychus is already top, but technically you should be set up top and just clearing the next wave up there instead of grouping up. Again, this is the oh, your side lanes are pushed out now. This is good. But ideally, Tychus should be with the team and you offlane. So. Oh no, this is just your Orphea getting picked. Okay, let's see, where do you go now? Are we fighting? Clearing waves. Get a Gul'dan pick. Yeah, in these situations like this, like where you're kind of behind, you are kind of forced to fight, so not really too concerned. But there are times where you do need to, like I said, just soak. And you want to be able to identify them, and then if someone else is soaking, just tell them to go down, because obviously that Lucio didn't do it earlier, but
like, should I even be here right now, or should I just defend mid lane?
So obviously you're in a really dire situation. Okay, so I would say to fight because you're super far behind. They're 16 and you're 13. You are pretty much in a desperate position to be able to secure a kill. So I would argue to just fight. But
Okay.
obviously the most important part is to not put yourself in this position. Because obviously there were some points earlier, like when you took this camp initially, the Tychus was up top. You just swapped with the Tychus, tell the Tychus to group up with the team, because you split push. But what you're doing right now is correct. Like a lot of the mistakes that are happening are mostly on the team, but obviously there are things that you can be improving on. Like what you're doing right now is perfectly fine. This is what you do, and like this kind of like setup here where these side lanes are getting pushed into you. This is obviously a big result of um, you pretty much team fighting over clearing waves, right? Like obviously we were desperate enough to team fight because we had to, but this kind of is just like the result that happens if you end up team fighting over split pushing waves. Yeah, so this is fine. Should be able to live for a long time here. Yeah, this is a 20-minute replay, so we just wait. What is this Lucio doing here? He's like running into weird places. Strange.
I don't know, yeah.
He's
If he was trolling or something.
now
I mean,
he's proxying mid wave. What the heck? What the heck is this?
yeah, I don't know how we actually lost this. Like, I'm super strong late game in this
Yeah.
game.
Oh yeah. Have you proxied waves before as Murky?
Not really.
Do you know the concept of it?
Nope.
Okay, so proxying a wave is basically
Yeah, walking behind the tower and then taking them. I know that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
from
Oh,
League,
okay,
but
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I never did it in HOTS or something.
Okay, so yeah, it's generally not very strong in HOTS. Actually, no, it is really strong in HOTS. What am I saying? But there are places to do it. The most important place to do it is when your opponent is sieging. So let's say that your bottom and top are not pressured whatsoever. Let's just say it's just the mid lane. If you mount up and run all the way here and proxy the wave,
Yeah, they won't have minions.
yeah, they won't have minions for the keep, and then you're also in a flank position where you can
Okay.
march and do stuff, right? So you should always try to keep that in mind. But the most important part here is clearing your side lanes because that is your job, right? You don't need to be
Okay.
here. You can be even more forward over here. But I mean, it's kind of weird because you have a unfortunate matchup. Like both matchups, like top and bottom, are not favored for you. So, you want to just be clearing at the towers and not really grouping up. Because if you throw out your W against the team, like it's just gonna die. Oh, they didn't kill it. Okay. But generally, if people pay attention to it, they're just gonna kill it right away because it does a lot of damage. But yeah, you should technically be down here taking care of this instead of team fighting. Let's see here. Let's see how this goes now. Oh, that guy just inted, okay. You had a, oh, you had a Viking kill. So, obviously we're kind of just like fighting at this point. Remember always your job is to manage waves even if you're behind. Because that's the only way you're actually going to end up coming back is if you get some waves. So, this wave pushing in, this wave pushing in. Need to be managing that. The only time you ever really team fight is if you actually clear your sidelines, right? You'll end up seeing this pattern quite a lot since you are in this position. But what you're doing is fine here. Yeah, you're soaking bot mid. Yeah, that's pretty much all you can do at this point. Just soaking bot mid till you're 20, then you get your level 20 spike. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Okay, now you're a gigantic Murky that's actually destroying everybody.
Yep.
You're actually destroying them. Oh wait, wait, why isn't Lucio's not even healing you? What is this guy doing? I'm actually very interested in this boss right now that's killing your core. I'm very interested if it actually kills it or not. But yeah, this is the point where you can actually get stacks. Like you can, in most games that you've played Murky, you find yourself in a position where you're not able to stack early, right? Okay, this boss actually doesn't die. Well, kill the core, sorry. Okay, that's good to know. Actually, really good to know, because no one contested this boss. Huh. But anyway, not much else here, unless you get like a really good team fight. Like right now, obviously running at them is perfectly fine. You reach your power spike. No need to split much anymore. But obviously we're not grouped up, so let's see how you defend this. You have March 15. This should look okay. Yeah, this looks good for you. Oh, here. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick actually. For just DPS in general, like when you're fighting. Obviously you kind of like strayed away from the DPS. This is a concept that I've hammered into a lot of people. There's a question between let's say if you are dealing damage to someone, who should you be dealing damage to? Because if you are dealing damage to a damage healer, the theory is that, oh, they're just gonna get healed up. What's the point, right? The second part to this is if you're hitting the healer, you're just gonna get damaged, right?
Yep.
So what do you think is the more threatening choice of those two?
As a Murky, I would say attacking the healer, because then you can just stall for time with your E and let your team do something.
Okay. So
But right now in this time, like didn't have mana, so I was just going for their damage dealers.
okay.
Because they couldn't do shit.
Okay. So generally that is in this situation it is correct to go for the damage dealers, but I'm going to try and drill this into your head where so let's go back to the 2 points real quick. If you're attacking a healer, right, you're gonna end up getting damaged, right?
Yep.
What kills you? Getting damaged, right? If you're attacking the damage, right, and they're trying to kite, they're pressured, right? They're under a lot of pressure, and they're forced to make decisions, right? Putting pressure on the damage is way more important than pressuring the healer, unless the healer is completely out of position and just gets 100 owed, right? Because if you pressure the damage, that is quote-unquote less damage to you and your team because you're pressuring them, right? Very, very important concept. Because like even if like let's say even if like a support is low, if you pressure their damage and kill their damage, then you just do that instead. But yeah, so this is kind of just the result of one, your team monkeying again. Another part though, from your part is not soaking enough waves, because you're grouping up a little too early. Try I'm gonna put down notes here. Oh, I already did. Pretty much just staying off lane until 10 is the best thing to do here. Because, yeah, that's one of your power spikes, 10. 10 through 20 is your power spike, so you want to be playing towards that instead of grouping up early to get stacks and things like that. Because obviously, in your late game, when you actually get 20, you're able to get stacks pretty quickly because you're super duper tanky, right? Okay, let's go to the next replay, unless you are done.
Yeah, I gotta see which one
Okay.
I could take.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm learning so far here though is the things that you can improve right away is first of all, like identifying compositions, right? Like you want to be able to know your types of power spikes and things like that. Your power spikes, their power spikes, your team's power spikes, things like that. We talked about the tools and things of yeah, the tools of your team that you can use to be able to play around objectives. And we talked about like side lane priority, having collapses, things like that.
Okay, let's see.
Let's lobby. Okay. Black card space. So let's see. Do you end up double soaking mid top or are you bottom solo? That's the question. Let's see.
This time I'm got slow.
Okay, you're Gazlo. Okay, cool. Make another thing for Gazlo. Okay.
Should I actually be bot lane as Murky or top lane because the chest also spawns bot lane?
So there was a thing that people were doing where obviously this is in quick match and everything, so it's not too important, but in this situation, like as Murky, obviously you're able to double soak. It really depends on your side lane matchup, your 1v1 matchup, because in quick match people kind of just run to the eye and start fighting, so you're like 1v4. But
Yeah.
also at the same time, if you are 1v4, you their bottom lane is threatened because no one's there, right? So it really depends on their compositions again. Like you need to be able to identify, or at least try to, what your composition does, yeah, things like that. So before all this starts, try and tell me what yours composition does, what theirs does, whose is better and why. Hard question, but do your best. Do your best.
Like, I don't know. We just have damage dealers and stuff, so and the enemies too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say.
Okay. So what I will tell you here is that the biggest threat on their team, and it's pretty much the only threat really. Yeah, it's pretty much the only threat. It's the Zeratul. The Zeratul is going to poop on you on 16 plus because he has oh, never mind. He's not even Q build right now, but we'll see. But Zeratul is a large threat to your team composition because he can assassinate pretty well. Oh, nice. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took the damage, sadly.
Yeah. I think as a rule with Gazlo, you don't want to be autoing as much as usual because you don't have much regen like Murky does, right? So see how you're like trying to trade a little in here instead of just using your turrets. Even when you're like, see like you're, let's see, no, you're not doing okay. That's fine. I was gonna say like you were you took some minion damage earlier on from the range minions, so always try your best to use your turrets to pressure the lane or the Murky. Cause like, see how you're trading here? this kind of stuff just happens, right? Like if you're a little higher HP, you'd be okay, but trading into a Murky as a melee hero is not very good because even if you kill him, you're going to lose the long trade rate.
Yeah.
So okay, not really concerned about what your team's doing. You obviously got rotated on, unfortunately. That is something you do want to be aware of as a solo laner. You are going to get ganked quite a lot. So always watch your minimap. This camp's okay. So, do you do this camp? Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it too much?
Yes, it's too much. Why? Well, okay, yeah. So, what do you think you should do after this camp?
Go back to bot lane because my wave starts pushing.
Yes.
So I miss the XP.
Yep, exactly. Always prioritize waves over anything else. Doing this was okay because you can do it. You can do it in time, and the wave was even at that time, so it's okay. But this now, what I would do here is like, what do you think you should do like after the camp? Like, yeah, what do you do after the bot wave?
After I pushed it in,
Yes.
I would just go back to the camp and then do it.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
Two big guys.
Right. So, let's talk about the options real quick of what you can do. So, yeah, the one you said was the one I wanted to do. Another thing you can do, after killing the bot wave is place like a turret here, or even here to just like dismount and proxy, give vision, things like that. You can do that kind of stuff as well with Gazlowe.
Okay.
There's a lot of really funky things you can do in Gazlowe with your turrets, because you can like set up wards for yourself, because obviously you have turrets, so it's really weird. Okay, so anyway, obviously this wave, unfortunate, but for next time, always prioritize waves. Oh, you're turning in now. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not. Oh no. This is EXP. No. Oh, okay, he gets it. Never mind. But obviously, if you don't have a global, but.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So now, obviously you're kind of engaging here. Your team is bottom side. The instant reaction that you should have when your team kind of just rotates down all the way here is to be on the opposite side.
Yep.
Because yeah, that is your job. You're as the offlaner and split pusher. Not so much team fighting. And Gazlowe has a power spike of 10. Yeah, it's kind of 10. Yeah, it's 10. Because you have your team fight ultimate, or you have the PvE ult. So. Both of the heroes we've reviewed today are level 10 power spike heroes. So, let's see. Not too much going on here. So obviously we're like contesting again this bot wave. Important. There's no real point in turning because we don't even have the turn in. It's best to push in side lanes. Always side lanes and then rotate to objectives. Okay. Let's see here. Ooh, this is a little overextension, unfortunately. When playing against like Zeratul and like assassins like that, like mobile assassins, just being in range form and just like, well, not even range form, you just chill there and do nothing and let your turrets do the work is more important. Let's see what you do here. You're contesting this, which is fine. You get some. So yeah, pretty much back to soaking for you now. Hopefully, oh, okay, you start the team fight because team wants to fight. You had a pick though, that's nice.
Yeah, but we're about to get 10. But
yeah, you're trying to get it?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting it, okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, your team's just doing everything? Okay. Let's see, what ult do you take? Go get him. Oh, unlucky. Alright, so this is the exact same scenario that happened with the oh no. With the Butcher game. Butcher Murky game. where you're kind of just invading because people died. Ends up being a little disastrous, but you end up living anyway. This
Yeah, ulted to run
yeah,
away.
this gigantic bot wave needed to happen instead. Oh, are you gonna? What is this Zeratul doing? Let's see. Okay, nice. You get the bottom wave first. Nice.
Yeah, I first wanted to do the camp, but
Nice. Okay, yeah. You saw the
Don't
bottom
just,
wave. Yeah. Perfect. And obviously, since you're 10, you can start trading into Murky, because you have Robogobo. So, okay, so your mid wave's even? Okay. Yeah, this is okay, because it's even. You have two options of either clearing or just going to the camp because the wave is even. Okay, this is good. Good, and you trade into Murky. Oh, this you need to press R. Nice. Go to R. You should live. Nice.
yeah, they
That
are
was,
there.
damn, that was really well played. So now, you're still kind of contested. It's a little weird. So here, there's actually something you could have done there, actually. What do you think you should have done? You kind of just, like, mounted up and ran around. And try to make a decision.
I don't know.
Okay, so, after you killed the two people there, the thing you need to, the thing that you saw, you, like, you mounted up and, like, kind of just ran around. The thing that I would have done right away is, two options here. You get wave priority bottom, which you do right now because you have the double giants. You could also just mount up and run to the objective because two people are dead, right? And you just start in by yourself. The third is forcing this bot camp, but it's a little weird because you're low and you don't really have a healer. So yeah, right now you had bot priority. You just clear the wave, then you rotate. You don't need to skirmish or anything. Always want to make sure that your rotations are crisp. So here, what I would do is back and get the knights out, or unless this is okay too, because you get a globe there. Let's see, do you help the Zul'jin? Yeah, okay, that's perfectly fine. Holy moly, he's gonna die. So, okay, oh nice, so you're in offlane now. This is nice. Okay. So, nope.
Running back.
So, yeah, like, I think the notion of rotating to the objective is okay because, you can set up turrets, but there's no need for you to kind of walk into people and auto them because, why not just have your turrets do that instead, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously, you didn't, here you kind of just face check the bush. I would have just queued into the bush just to check if there's someone there. So, a couple things here. Okay, so the first thing obviously is to not face check the bush and just use a turret inside. The whole premise of this play that you make here, in my opinion, is to just get control over the turn and set up because you are a setup hero. The thing you can do, what do you think you can do afterwards when you set up?
When I like set, what do you mean with setup? Like just put some turrets down and get vision or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Okay.
that. Yeah, once you set up, like once you're done, like throwing down your turrets, like what do you do afterwards?
Yeah, we just try to give in the coins, and then if they come, we go in on them. I'd
Okay,
say.
sounds good. Oh no, this is unfortunate. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
this
this is
where
kind
the
of
game's won.
yeah. That's kind of where the result of kind of just face checking the bush and things like that. So for next time, just yeah, use your tools to be able to get yourself vision. Let's see. Okay, you deal with the thing, which is good. On paper, Falstad should actually be your offlaner at this point because he has a global. And you're technically the tank actually because you have R. Oh, you didn't R the. I don't know if it was off cooldown or not. We'll see. Let's see. You are versus a not a Murky, a Chromie, which is not really favored for you. Kind of have to concede it. This decision you're making to, ooh, where are you going? You're kind of like walking around. So best thing to do here is to clear your mid wave, and then yeah, just keep pushing the other side lanes if you have an unfavored matchup. Okay, let's see. You are double soaking versus a Chromie, which is not favored if you actually fight. Yeah, this guy just shoots at you for free. Okay, you decide the team fight, which is sort of okay, but the team's already kind of dead, so you kind of just have to leave. Oh, please don't go in. No. It's not the time. Okay, good. Oh.
Yeah,
This is
I'm gonna die here.
Oh, you're super dead.
Yep.
It's unfortunate. Oh, wait, you're okay.
Okay, I assisted my teammate then.
Nice. Okay. That guy's dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he got one, at least.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, this false side flew weird. Okay, I guess he all-ins that. It's not that bad. So now you have two people dead. You can kind of just walk up now. And you have Robo-Gobo, but remember your job is to get camps and split push. Oh, where are you going here? I think I would have went to the Knights instead, because this is obviously really risky. You're like...
Yeah, I'm dying.
Dead? Oh, yeah, you're dead. Unlucky.
Yeah, I knew that they were there, but and I didn't want to pick up the coins.
Yeah.
And I made to be like, the coins, and then I went back and
yeah,
you know, it was the wrong decision.
Best play here was to just do the Knights and have the your turrets tank instead.
Yeah, right.
This guy is trying to do something. That technically should be you doing that, because you can. Oh no.
Yeah, I wanted to I actually wanted to.
What the heck? Yeah, this guy's saying yeah, shit here's versus Zeratul, exactly what I was talking about. Also, I guess like this is something that you should keep in mind. When you do camps like this, do your best to not tank any damage whatsoever. You want to have your turrets do it, right?
Okay.
Because basically, like your health regen is not good, so you just want to have your turrets do it instead for you. It's just a matter of efficiency, because like having that extra amount of health is really important. Let me just smack that guy. Holy moly! What is that? Okay. Sure. That was very interesting. So obviously we have this kind of pressure here. Again, you're kind of having the mentality of coming to save your team and things like that, but your job really is to just split push, right? Always split push. Like technically you could have actually just taken the top wave and even did the boss by yourself, or even with the Falstad, and you could have a win condition with your boss if you get like a good pick or something, right? Like this is that is what I would do instead of just coming to rotate. Always play for yourself and never come to the team unless it's a situation where you actually need to. It's obviously trial and error for you at this point to be able to identify if you need to come or not. But a lot of the cases, oh, are you gonna die to that? Okay. A lot of the cases, if you take a look at your composition and identify your composition, goes back to literally the first question I always ask you, is can they actually handle this push by themselves, right? Like, if you think about it, did you really need to come here as opposed to threatening this side of the map, right?
Yeah.
Because if you, you could have definitely done this boss by yourself, and instead of just coming down here, because the team kind of just had everything, right? And then you could have had a free win condition, things like that. So generally as offlane, especially as a hero that can do camps very fast, like Gazlowe or Murky, always want to be thinking about counter pressure on this other side of the map. Okay, so obviously we have a fight here. This does not look too favored for you. because there's a Zeratul. Okay, never mind. You got the. Wait, this Zeratul's trolling. Okay, you're probably dead. Okay, so a lot of things with just team fighting in general. What I have noticed is like you're playing pretty much like a regular DPS. Um, which in this case, like, well, just your role in general, you're not actually a DPS. You want to be flanking a lot of the time and threatening the flank. Um, kind of like what I talked about with Curse Hollow, and like how you threatened the Sergeant Hammer. Um, there's a couple of spaces you want to control. Let's see if I can back up. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Cause this game. Oh, you're okay. Wait, you're still here. It's okay. I will slowly make my way back here. Don't want to crash this thing. Like it's gonna. I'm gonna have to do this like every time for a bit.
I'm in the loading screen.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
Okay.
I just want to see to the point where you died. Well, okay. So almost there. We're almost there. Okay. Because if I like go any further, it's gonna destroy everything. But okay, let's see here. Let's talk about how we take this fight. Okay, so right now, what do you think you can tell me that you can improve on here in your positioning, in what you should be doing? Because the notion here is to bait the boss, right? That's kind of a general term that everyone uses, like bait the boss. But what do you think you should actually be doing? You can throw out whatever ideas. Like, I just want to know your thought process. Like consider literally everything on the map right now. Assuming that you're actually taking a team fight.
So I'm taking the team fight, right?
Yes,
so.
yes. Yeah, you don't have to worry about side lanes or anything. Just, yeah. How do you think you should approach this team fight?
I don't know, really, like... Yeah, I mean, like, for me, camping in the bush was the right choice. Like,
okay.
That's the only one I see right here. Like, walking into them doesn't sound good at all. Like,
right.
I would just explode and be dead either just instantly.
For sure. So you're saying to me that having yourself set up is more important than running into them. So, okay, hold on. Let's go back one more. I want to check something. Okay. Okay, cool. So, this is important. Let's talk about how we approach this situation. So, the first and foremost, most important thing in this approach to baiting the boss, quote unquote, is your lane. So, if we check out how the wave develops here, just watch our wave versus their wave. You kind of just ignore everything and set up the bush, right? Instead of clearing this wave, or having your team needs to clear that wave too, whichever one. You kind of set up here. The Falstad has a different, he's a different thing where he just face checks the eye, which is bad because they controlled it first, right? He kind of coin flipped and actually got the eye, which is really surprising, but he's in a lot of trouble, right? So the first thing that you need to identify right away is that this wave needs to be cleared so that you have vision and lane priority. The second thing you need to do also is, obviously you are in a position where you have turrets and stuff in the boss pit, and your hope is to have the enemy team kind of run into the boss pit so you can start autoing them, right? The thing that I would do personally as Gazlowe, since you are in the offlane position, once you set up your turrets, you just mount up and walk somewhere and get ready to flank, pretty much, right? If you're in a position to be able to run at their backline as a Gazlowe, like, if you run at the KTZ, let's say, and you just press your R and smack him to death, like, guy's gonna die, right? But, so like here, this Falstad is like tanking a little bit of the minion wave, and the minion wave's like pushed into you, right? Like this is already a disaster, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing important is to not take, well, is to clear the wave. Second is obviously you are set up, but it's kind of like obvious that like everyone's in here, right? Like you do have a huge burst on him. Oh, this Zul'jin popped his ult like a donkey, but yeah, see how you're like tanking minion tier, things like that? Don't want to be doing that. But anyway, the most important part of this thing I was telling you about is clearing the minion wave, right? The minion wave was so important to clear. It
Yeah.
put a
Now,
lot of pressure.
KT had to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, you guys, you had 3 people to deal with it earlier, right? You ran into the minion wave with the
Yep.
with your other 2 DPS. I would ideally put the job to the other DPS because you have turrets and stuff. But that's just general knowledge that you want to be clearing the wave so that you have vision, you have lane priority, things like that. Okay, let's see here. So you're kind of sort of face checking a little, but it's okay. You are. What are we doing here? We're looking at a team fight, which is fine. Like your waves here are pushed in, so it's okay to group up like this. Kind of just set up and start pressing W. This is good. Oh, you smacked that guy. Oh, unlucky you didn't press R in time. Let's see. Doesn't look too much here. But yeah, so I think the most important things we can learn from this replay in general, probably the most important really, is if your team is in a defensive position where they are trying to clear waves and they're being pressured at the keep or something, or a fort, the thing you want to be doing always is thinking of how you can counter pressure on the map, right? The the event where they were defending bot and you could have actually just done boss by yourself at some point.
Yeah.
Those are the things you want to be thinking about always as an offlaner. Especially like I said with a hero that what do you call it? That just does camp super quickly, right? So let me write some stuff down. So counter pressuring other lanes. We talked about face checking with turrets instead of body. Let's see. Pretty much, we also talked about clearing lanes before doing camps. Lanes are much more important. What else did we talk about in this? Oh, we talked about like tanking night camps with turrets. What else do we do? What does this do? Oh. I think that is it for this one, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. We're done with this replay. Cool. Okay, did you have another replay to go over? Or do you want to call it? It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't have that many replays now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to call
I
it here?
say.
Then
Yeah,
or
I
okay.
would say.
Do you have any general questions about today? I do have notes for you to take. Well, I have notes that I'll give you right now.
General questions. Oh, yeah. Are they like any sites like I don't know if you played League of Legends, but
Like OPGG and things like that.
yeah, right.
Um, Let me look real quick. Um, what is it called? What is this site called?
Like that you can check the match stats from win rates or stuff
Okay,
like that.
this
from
one.
your team.
I will give it to you here. There, that one. Should
Cool.
be, it
Alright.
should be already be tracking down your stuff.
Okay.
It's not exactly accurate, I'm not sure. I haven't used the site in like years. I don't use it that much anymore, but obviously it's information that you're interested in.
Yep.
So obviously I have the notes for you there of today, of what you should be learning today. Um, yeah, any other questions?
Mm. Wait, let me read the notes and then.
For sure. Let me add. Yeah.
March of the Murlocs.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we learned today with literally just 2 heroes. But
Okay.
the most important thing though, that you can learn like right away is identifying what compositions do. Obviously it's
Yeah.
really hard, but you'll start to get a hang of it once you actually start thinking about things.
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, I guess that's. Don't really think. I can't think of any questions right now.
Okay. So yeah, obviously if you have any questions in the future, just let me know so then I can answer them for you.
Okay.
As for payment, I do have this VOD available for you. If you want to do it at 15 USD, so that you can just review over it. The other option is just like with, it's just 10 USD. Then I have these notes for you, obviously, that I took down for
Yeah,
you.
I think I'll just take the 10 USD.
Okay, sounds good.
So is it 10 like?